大家收睇2019年嘅第一集《綠茵闖蕩》啦。
嗱，話咁快咧，綠茵嚟到第4年噶咯喎，咁新嘅一年咧，祝各位馬迷可以繼續一馬當先，贏多幾 win。喺
賽馬以外呢，相信大家喺新嘅一年呢有唔少嘅新計劃啦，喺度祝大家事業達標，新嘅一年啊，繼續身體健康，笑住超。
冇錯啦，想笑住超咧，好簡單嘅就係要掌握先機嘛。呢個時候，首先為大家送上嘅就係2019年嘅頭炮 Top 5啊，俾大家笑看馬圈風雲啊！
Number 5，
上星期六就係沙田馬場40週年致慶嘅大日子，當日唔止有醒獅同武術表演，主持仲同現場觀眾大玩遊戲同埋大派禮物。其中焦點賽事沙田馬場40週年紀念杯，最終由無線東拆旗嘅動力爆發勝出。喺呢個咁特別嘅日子贏到咁特別嘅賽事，難怪佢哋咁開心啦。
Number 4，
上年11月，因為眼疾而停賽休養嘅騎師蘇迪雄，近排終於有新消息。有報道指佢即將接受醫生檢查，如果證實已經康復，最快會喺1月初復操。其實呢兩季迪迪仔大部分時間都係養傷當中，希望佢可以盡快回歸馬場。嚟緊嘅一年，努力衝刺啦。
Number 3，
星格巨星霸基之星嚟緊又有新目標啦。報道指佢將會報跑1600米董事杯以及2000米嘅香港金杯，並且有意揾翻貝湯美出戰香港金杯。呢對舊拍檔上季曾經攜手贏出2400米嘅遮打杯，唔知佢哋今季又可唔可以再創佳績呢？
Number 2，
等咗3年，天王郭富城終於有新馬再上陣啦！呢日佢仲孖住囡囡同太太方媛齊齊入場支持愛駒武士精神，有天王加持，馬仔果然開行 turbo， 最終喺潘頓帶領之下一出即勝，勁㗎！
作為一個馬主，我覺得去養一隻馬，其實都希望佢係慢慢去開始去跑啦，同埋學多啲經驗啦。當然，我覺得同練馬師大家都會商量過隻馬嘅狀態唔錯，咁先俾佢出賽。至於你話係咪一定會贏到，其實我都係一個平常心嘅態度。因為我哋覺得今場雖然係4班，咁其實有好多亦都有側身馬，咁佢哋都有啲跑過嘅，都係有能力嘅。咁變咗，所以對我嚟講，其實我都係希望佢係跑得好嘅。咁今日幸運啦，咁隻馬亦都好叻啦，咁就贏咗。咁喺度要多謝好多人去支持武士精神啦。咁啊，希望嚟緊，我希望隻馬係繼續會進步嘅。咁我相信阿方，我同佢合作咗咁耐，之前嘅養個馬，咁其實佢都知道我係一個唔心急嘅馬主嚟嘅。其實我反而希望跑馬嘅樂趣係希望隻馬一路進步。
Number 1，
1月 G1 打孖殺到，香港速度系列首關1200米8週年紀念短途杯。據講，短途好手偏偏同爭分奪秒，將會再次迎戰應屆浪琴標香港短途錦標盟主紅衣醒神。今次佢哋可唔可以絕地反擊？另外一場國際1級賽3冠大賽揭幕戰1600米董事杯，馬王美麗傳承擺下擂台陣，接受川河專區同美麗大師嘅挑戰。想現場欣賞呢匹應屆香港馬王嘅雄姿，就要留意1月20號董事杯啦。
喂，阿 Ray 啊，2019年有咩新大計啊？
新嘅一年咧，就希望可以拍多啲好玩得意嘅 feature 俾大家睇啦。嗱，我哋 band 咧就希望可以做多啲音樂咧，就俾多啲人聽到。跟住自己咧，希望可以執房就即係執得好啲啦。因為而家係亂中無序啊，要學點樣斷捨離咯。
喂，講咗咁多，你都講唔到個重點喎。須知道我哋綠茵最旺係咩啊？旺姻緣啊嘛。有冇諗住2019年加入阿陶嘅行列，做個老親？
打俾你啊！打俾你啊！
咁啊，即係等你好消息啦。不過咧，除咗你之外咧，馬圈咧都有一隊嘅冠軍人馬嚟緊，有唔少嘅大計嘅。講緊嘅咧就係大魔同埋應屆馬王美麗傳承啦。我哋一齊聽下大魔點樣講下呢一匹嘅馬壇王者。
最後200米，美麗傳承已經拋離群區，拋甩咗3個身位啊！咁啊，好有機會贏出呢場浪琴標香港1哩錦標，好似神草咁翻嚟啊
！Here he comes, John. Beauty generation. He is a tremendous athlete as well. What an individual he is.
He sure is. He's the, 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 is he's now household name overseas.
Can you give us a little bit of the backstory about him? How you bought him, why you bought him, what you saw in him?
Okay, as you know, George was scouting for horses like 2 years back, and came across him in the Australian Group 1 races. We negotiated on behalf of the Kwok family, and we were able to secure him for Hong Kong. Now, you know, he's got no pedigree to talk about, but there are some freaks, you know, are bred over in New Zealand. We've had 2 so far. One was Makapura Star, no pedigree whatsoever. I even bought some progeny out of the mare, and they were all class 5, very, very slow. And then, of course, he comes along. So it wasn't a pedigree thing, of course. It was, he was running from like 1400 all the way through to 1.5 miles and was competitive. So from that point of view, we managed to acquire him.
美麗傳承越跑越斜啊，一路走出嚟外欄嘅位置，但係擠離咗3個馬位，穿河穿區美麗大師一齊追緊上嚟，接近終點。美麗傳承可以話係點跑都贏啊！
And you mentioned the Quocks there. I remember seeing them at the Horse of the Year Awards last year. Patrick, who owns him, there with his mother and father, and the way they speak or spoke about this horse in particular, they're obviously tremendous enthusiasts and really enjoy the beauty,
oh, they do,
no
they
pun
do.
Intended, and the majesty of him really as well.
Yes, he's quite an imposing type, isn't he? When you see him, that's why when last season when I said to the owner, I'm going to make a miler out of him, and he looked at me, well, we bought him for the Derby, but the Derby's passed. Now, why don't we just move on? I'm looking at the physique of this horse. He does not look like a horse that will go over ground. Now, champions like this fellow, can do it at both ends, right? Yeah. From 1400, like Abel Friend, all the way to 2000. He's gone even further. But when I looked at him physically, I said, God, this has got to be a sprinter miler, but just so talented. So I changed his workloads and everything, and married him up with his best mate here, the groom, and they get on tremendously well because he is a bit quirky. If the polos aren't out,
well, I just
or
saw
the carrots aren't out,
then. The ears went back.
He'll have a nip. But as you said earlier, he's got the best breath in town for any equine hero, I'm sure. I can tell you that.
美麗傳承走甩咗2個身位，後邊嘅馬咧就有呢隻喜蓮掌聲西方快車出邊4季王，接近終點係你贏啊！美麗傳承。
What do you think has changed as much in people's minds, I suppose, as much as anything else, because he was winning races last year. He's the defending champion from International Day, but all of a sudden, you know, his rating has just gone through the roof, and he's getting worldwide recognition as well. He's the highest-rated turf miler in the world, and by the end of the year, he could be the best horse in the world on ratings.
Yes. The way I look at it is that, okay, on the Hong Kong racing scene, he's beating everything that he's come up against, but to really progress to where Winks, Enabled, Roaring Lion, Cracksman, you really have to go overseas. That's from my trainer's point of view. I'm not saying that to Simon, you know, we must go, but the fact is, if you really want to prove him, he's got to go offshore, prove that he can travel and he can still beat, you know, the best of what's either in Dubai or whatever country. But it looks like it would be Dubai, even though I got a note from Goodwood the other day, would he please come to Goodwood? And I said, look, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge before consideration would be given to participating at Royal Ascot or even Goodwood.
美麗傳承走中間已經出咗嚟先㗎啦，咁啊見到咧就拋甩咗個零身位，出邊上緊嚟咧就4季王啊，入邊平海福星接近終點慶典杯，美麗傳承掟甩對手贏，平海福星衝一衝啊！
Given, I mean, say you obviously have to keep him a little bit at arm's length. You know, he can be without the polos a bit of a handful. Are you able to have, when the cameras aren't rolling and the crowds are gone, can you have a moment with him and just sort of
I'm with him all the time,
and enjoy that you're in the middle of something really quite special right now?
Oh, exactly. You know, I'm very close to all these horses in the stable, you know, and especially, you know, of a morning we'd all be going down. He'd walk around here, he gets his polos, he gets his carrots, he waits for me. You know, I'm sure if he let him go, he'd follow me around, as long as all the gates were closed.
We won't try.
We won't try, but he's, you know, he's quite a character, but I've always found these champions have their little traits, their idiosyncrasies, I think is the word. But Every morning, as I said, we always go down there and pamper him, and I think that's all been part of his rise to fame, has been the attention that he's been given, and the fact that Simon and Patrick just love to come to the stable, ask questions, be around him, give him a pat, bucket of carrots and everything. I think that's all to do with, you know, the attention that he's got, and I think it's part of the reason for his meteoric rise.
Well, thank you for letting us take a peek behind the curtain today with him as well, because he is, I mean, he's been...
Give him one and you can say you fed
a
it.
duty
One of the
generation.
world champs.
He's been perfect with us this morning, hasn't he? So
Yeah.
it is a real privilege to get up close to a horse, because you can feel the power and the presence of him as well.
Can't you? Yeah.
He's a real star.
When you look at him, you look at the size of him. That's when I looked at him. He doesn't look like a horse to go over ground. You look at a horse Eagle Way, you know, that'll go 3,200. But this fellow, I just think he was doing it in Australia just out of his ability. But now we've found the secret to him, the secret being he's a top-class miler and does have a turn of foot.
期待2019年啊，美麗傳承可以衝出香港，為港爭光。
嗱，美麗傳承嘅上年成績咧係非常之咁突出啦，但係講到馬圈中表現出色嘅，仲有華籍練馬師羅富全。
嗱，今集咧我哋就特別請嚟佢嘅仔仔兼左右手羅俊樂咧上嚟講下究竟馬房嘅成功秘訣係啲乜嘢，轉頭有得睇啦。